back to my channel. Happy Friday. If you are new to my channel, I do have a series that I do most Fridays of the year, which is called Post Review Friday, which is where I talk to you about my most recent finish. So that's what we're going to do today. Now, we are going to be talking about this particular kit, which is called Reader by Hannah Digi Art. This is from the shop Diamond Painting Artisan. No. Diamond Artisan Shop, sorry. It's Diamond Artisan Shop. You can follow them on Instagram. They also have a website, and I will talk about some of that stuff briefly at the end of this video. But this kit was sent to me. I featured Diamond Artisan in another series that I have on my channel, which is called Wishlist Wednesday, and that is where I go through diamond painting shops and I show you what they have, what's kind of on my radar as something I would like to pick up at some point. So the owner saw that video and offered to send me a diamond painting. So this is the one that I chose, and it was sent to me without any requirement to share it as an unboxing or kitting up or a post review. I have done all of those things. I unboxed this with you guys. We kitted it up together. I had 1 week where I was actually working on it in a whip and chat, and now we're here for a post review. This is my first this is my first kit from this shop. So if it's a new to me company, I do really like to do all the steps with you all so I can kind of give you my thoughts at each little stop sign, I guess you could say. So we're going to talk about everything pertaining to this diamond painting, how I liked it, maybe issues that I would have seen, potentially some improvements, any of that, excuse me, any of that kind of stuff. So first, like I mentioned, this is called the Reader, or just Reader, actually. It's a 50 by 70. It is a round drill kit. We have 57 colors with an AB, a crystal, and 2 artisan shimmers. So if you're familiar with Diamond Art Club, it's what they call their fairy dust drills. It is the same type of drill, or similar drill, I guess I should say. Now, overall, I really like this finish. I will go ahead and pop up a full-length image for you guys here so you can see it from a distance. You are getting most of it in the camera frame, but I think viewing this one particularly from a distance is really great. I love the end result. I think it's really beautiful. I think the coloring is pretty nice. I like a lot of the shadow work, and overall, it's a good finish for me. Now, I started this one on April 2nd, and I finished it for me yesterday, which was April 9th. So this took me just about a week. I think there was a day in there that I didn't diamond paint, so pretty much a week to finish this one, which is what I like. I very much prefer when I can finish a kit in about a week. If kits take me longer than that, I just kind of start to lose interest. So because this one had so much color blocking, which I did talk about in the unboxing, I was able to finish 2, sometimes 3 sections a night, and that really helped me move through this one pretty quickly. In terms of the things that I enjoyed with this one, I think that the shadowing towards the bottom, so obviously Belle is sitting here and the sunlight is coming through the window. I feel like the shadowing around her and then on her outfit, I think the shadowing is done really, really well. You can see the different shades throughout that I feel like just depict that shading really, really well. I did really enjoy the special drills in this canvas. Like I mentioned, we had an AB, which is a light yellow. So that's right here on this pillow. I think there was also some, yes, there's some on the side of the window. I know there's bookshelves on the side, but I think this is just supposed to be the wall, maybe, or the window itself. I can't quite tell, but there's some of the yellow ABs on either side of that. And then we had the yellow fairy dust, or sorry, artisan shimmer, which is kind of around the same areas. So also here on the pillow, and I think there was some, oh, I thought there was some in the window, but I guess they're actually isn't. Where else was the the Artisan shimmer? I'm never gonna get it right. I thought there was more than that. Oh, there's some in the books. And there's some around the rose in like the globe over here. Right there. And then the other shimmer was a pink, I think. Was it a pink? I could just look at the drills. Why am I? Oh yeah, it was like a, I want to say like a mauve type of color. That is throughout the window frame, which I think was really pretty. And I think there was some on her as well. Yeah, it looks like there's some in the shoulder of her shirt. And then the crystal, I think, was handled pretty well. I like that it highlights a lot of her. So it's kind of just around her, and I do like that effect. It's also in her necklace. And would these be fingernails? Fingernails, maybe? Do I have the picture? Oh, I think it's just the sun on her fingers. It's definitely not her fingernails, the way that she's holding the cup. I do think that the special drills were placed really well. There's also some of the crystals around the window here. These ones I kind of could have like take or leave them. I don't know if they were needed right here, but I understand what they were trying to show. They were trying to show like the sunlight. So they don't bother me. I just don't know if they needed to be there. That is coming from somebody who doesn't love crystals. Like, I love ABs. I love the shimmer drills. I'm not always super drawn to the crystals. So if you love crystals, you might be like, that's the perfect spot for them. And that's totally fair. They're just not necessarily my favorite special drill to use, but I did like them in the kit. Let me double check my notes here. Okay, so overall, I liked it. We are going to get into some things that I didn't love, or maybe that I think could use maybe a little bit of improvement. Now, I'm only speaking from my experience. This isn't meant to upset anybody. I take a lot of pride in my post reviews. I always want to be very honest and upfront with you guys about my experience with a kit. Whether I bought the kit, whether the kit was sent to me, whether I work with the company, I always look at my post reviews the same way. So I do have a couple of things that I want to talk about. I'm going to start with the stuff pertaining to the canvas first, and then we will move into the drills. So the first thing that I noticed was there were two symbols that tripped me up a little bit, which I guess this pertains to drills. So maybe I should talk about the drills first. This one's like drills and canvas. So I don't know. There are two symbols that did trip me up. So we have what I call the cinnamon roll symbol, and then we have the @ sign. Now, looking at them, you're probably like, I think I could differentiate those. And I would say the same thing, but this kind of leads into another point that I wanted to talk about. These were very easy to confuse, especially if you were working on the canvas upside down. Now, I work on my canvas both ways. I usually work on it right side up for half, and then I flip it for the other half, and I work on it upside down. I do that with all of my canvases. When I first started diamond painting, I used to turn my containers upside down, but then as you just do something more, you just kind of get used to it. So working on the canvas upside down, but having my containers right side up really doesn't affect me anymore. I can decipher it and I know what I'm looking for. But for some reason, these two particular drills, they got me multiple times. And I think that is because the color of the drill on the canvas was a little bit off. Now, you're looking at these colors and you're like, Laura, clearly this is like a coral and this is like a reddy brown. You're right. On the canvas, though, these two colors on the grid, on the drill field, they just looked a little bit similar. Now, there was one time where I was definitely working on the cinnamon roll symbol, but I pulled the @ sign symbol and I went to place the drills and I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't look right. And that's because I had pulled the wrong symbol. Now, some of that is definitely like personal to me. Just because I had issues with these two symbols doesn't mean you will necessarily have issues with them, but the colors were just a little bit closer on the canvas than they are in the actual color of like the DMC. So that was just something that I wanted to point out. Again, maybe a more personal thing than a widespread issue, but I did feel like the colors on the drill field were just a bit off from the actual drill color. So keep that in mind if you're working on this kit or another kit from this shop. Make sure you're paying attention to your symbols if that is something that you struggle with. Also, talking about the drill field, I will go back to the drills in a second, but also talking about the drill field, I felt like the drill field was just a little bit off, and I don't know exactly what I mean by that, because I don't know if it was the spacing that was a little bit off. I don't know if the symbols were a little bit too big, but when I was placing drills with my multi-placer, the drills were off. So my drills are not straight. Now, I don't think it's fair to draw attention to the light colors, because I think a lot of us that multi-place, your lighter colors are always a little bit off. So I'm gonna go for a darker area of the canvas, but my drills, just the spacing didn't seem right. Now, I use a multi-placer. I have been diamond painting so long now that it does not bother me when my drills are a little bit off. So will this bother a lot of people? I don't know. It's just something that I noticed as I was working on the diamond painting. Now, I feel like one of the things about multi-placing is, unless you're super, super particular, your drills are probably going to be a little bit off. So could that just be, I experienced this because I was multi-placing and that's just what I noticed? Yes. So definitely, like, you know, compare what I have to say to what other people who have worked on Diamond Artisan kits have said. I would point you in the direction of Lindsay from Life.W.Lindsay's channel. She has done at least one kit from this shop, and it's actually another one by the same artist. It's the Ariel version. She might have done more than that, so I will, if I can remember, you guys know I'm really bad at this, but if I can remember, I will leave a link to Lindsay's shop in my description box. But I just felt like when I was going in to place the drills, if I was not moving them around, they just weren't placing correctly. So I can see here that I need to move these around because they're just not perfectly placed, but I didn't do anything different with this particular section than I did with the rest of the canvas. So to me, it just seemed a little bit off. Now, is it enough for me to go, oh my God, this company needs to address their drill field? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The drill field itself was great. Like, the poured glue was great. Symbol clarity was great. Like I mentioned, the color seemed a little bit off to my eye, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. This is all just opinion based. I'm not trying to talk poorly about anything right now. I just felt like as I was picking up the drills in my 7-placer, they were nicely spaced how I would normally multi-place on a different type of canvas. And as I was laying them down, I was having to go back and I was having to scoot things around and make sure that they were covering the symbol all the way. It's, like I mentioned, it's very apparent in the lighter colors, but I don't necessarily think that it's fair to judge on like a white area of the canvas, but everything just seems a tiny bit off to me. If you're looking particularly like here, you can see some of the symbols hanging out. Oh my God, not the cat here. Luna. Sorry, I have a cat who's very hairy, so apologies for that. But everything just looks a tiny bit off to me. So that's all I wanted to say about that. Again, not trying to like stir the pot or anything. I just wanted to be you know, upfront with you guys about my experience. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the drills, which actually I need to grab the trash because I have a very small trash container, but I do feel like I have a lot of trash, but it could look different once I get it into a tray since this is such a small container. I did feel like I had quite a bit of trash for this canvas. I was pulling out quite a bit. Now this is a 50 by 70, and before I start talking about the trash drills, I just want to say to you guys, the way I view garbage drills or trash drills is as long as I have enough spare drills to finish the kit, I don't care how much trash I have. I had plenty of drills and then some, so every color I had plenty left over. So while I will be talking to you guys about the trash, just know that I'm not like upset about this. I had plenty of drills, and that's all that really matters. Good job, Laura. Way to go. So for the most part, my drills have holes in the top, or they are like hollowed out in the bottom. I had random little pieces. Overall, I think the drill quality was fine. And I think obviously it was compensated for by having so many extra drills. So I do appreciate that. However, there was one drill that had a ton of trash, and it was $7.92, which is, if I'm remembering correctly, it's this one blue shade here. $7.92, yes. So it is this particular blue shade. I had so much trash come out of this container. Now, just to show you guys, I had plenty available, but I would be willing to bet if I poured these drills out, I would be pulling at least 10 to 15 that had holes in them. If you're somebody who's overly picky with your drills, which I'm not, usually I will pick up my drills with my multi-placer, I'll lay them on the canvas, and then I'll go, oh, that one has a hole in it, or oh, that one's not laying right, there must be something wrong with the bottom. I don't generally pick out my trash drills ahead of time, but after the first couple of sections where I was using this blue shade, I did start doing that. So I would pour my drills out into my tray, I would shake them out, and then I would go through and I would pick, you know, the 3 or 4 bad ones and put them into my trash container. So just keep that in mind if you're somebody who's overly picky. I shouldn't say overly, because I don't want that to sound like an insult, because it's not meant to be. But if you're particular with the drills that you're choosing, just keep that in mind. But again, I had plenty left. I definitely think even if I was a bit more selective with the drills that I was choosing, I think I would have still had plenty left over. So I think that is going to do it for my thoughts on this canvas. I would definitely be interested in picking up another kit from this shop. I did enjoy it. It was really nice to take a little bit of a break from another company that I have only worked on this year. I definitely needed to focus and like leave that little bubble and go out to some other shops. And this one was perfect. So I really did enjoy doing that. I think it's beautiful. I liked all the yellow. You guys know I love my yellow drills. So I loved working with all the yellow. I think that bell turned out really cute. I did have somebody mention in a comment, I think it might have been on the kitting up for this one, that they didn't like the skin tone. They felt that it was too orange. Now, I could see that being something that they didn't like or being an issue for some people. I think the reason that her bottom, like the parts of her skin past this point are a darker color is because it's trying to show the shadow. That's how I take it. I think that her skin tone color is okay. I wasn't too bothered by it. It was definitely something I was paying attention to after I saw that comment. But I think the reason that like her feet and then this portion of her arm are these colors is to show that this is like a darker area. I will say her elbow blends right into this brown spot down here. So that's a little funky, but other than that, I was okay with the coloring, and I was okay with the rendering. I think it was decent. Now I'm going to talk about my accessories, but I did just want to give you guys a little bit of an update on Diamond Artisan. I'm actually going to pull up their Instagram page because I saw that they posted yesterday, and I just wanted to give a little bit of an update. Currently, oh my gosh, I searched their shop and my post was the first thing that came up. Who am I? Okay, so if you are in the United States, or if you're outside of the United States, but you're paying attention to our current political climate. This is not me getting political at all. You guys know I don't like to do that on my channel. But recently, a very large tariff percentage went into effect for products coming from China. Now, if you're new to diamond painting, or, you know, you haven't been around that long, diamond painting originated, I'm going to say originated, that might be not the perfect word, but a lot of it comes from China. A lot of diamond painting factory companies are in China. A lot of materials used for diamond paintings are from China. And with that new tariff percentage, a lot of our favorite shops, big and small, are seeing issues with all of that. Now, originally Diamond Artisan had posted that they would be having a price increase, which if you're in the States, I think we've all kind of been like, I mean, that's what's going to happen. Shortly after that, they did post that they would be putting their shop on pause, which is, you never want to see that with a small shop, especially with a small shop that you've really enjoyed their product. So that is very unfortunate. The owner has posted that any orders that had already been placed would absolutely be fulfilled, which we have seen that not happen with other companies. So I was very happy to see that they announced that. I believe you can still, hold on, let me go back to the, you know what, let me just read this so I'm giving you the correct information. So this is from Diamond Artisan Shop's Instagram page, and it says, Diamond Artisan family, my shop is now on pause while I work through the 104% tariff charge. Please know that all current orders will still be fulfilled, and you have my word on that. For international orders, please reach out to me directly via DM or email, and I'll do my best to assist you. I'm sorry for any inconvenience and truly appreciate your understanding and continued support. I hope to reopen as soon as everything is settled. Thank you so much for your love and patience. So you never want to hear that, and sending all my love to Diamond Artisan. Like, I hope that everything works out and you're able to open your shop back up and continue selling your diamond paintings, because I genuinely really did enjoy working on this one. If you guys have been following me so far this year, you know that I've kind of been, I don't know, I've been going through it a little bit. I haven't been necessarily loving diamond painting, but this was a kit that I would come home from work, and as soon as I got home, I'd be like, okay, let me try to get a section done before my boyfriend gets home, and then we'll do the after work stuff, dinner, shower, and then I'll come back and I'll work on it again. Like, I was very excited to work on this diamond painting. So it sucks that people, small shops across diamond painting, other communities are having to go through all of this crazy stuff. I can't even begin to imagine what it's what it entails on their end. So if you were looking to pick up this kit, unfortunately you cannot order it right now, at least if you're in the United States. If you're in Canada, I suggest you reach out to Diamond Artisan directly like they asked. Canada or the UK, wherever you are. But I hope once they reopen, I'm being optimistic. They're going to reopen. I hope maybe you would consider picking up something from the shop once it's available again. So that's my little not rant, but explanation on that. I hope everything works out for Diamond Artisan as well as the rest of our diamond painting community. A lot of our materials for our craft come from China. Whether you like it or not, it's the truth, and I hope that we can get everything worked out. I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm gonna leave that there. So let me show you guys my accessories. I decided to use yellow and blue. I feel like those colors go very well with Belle. So I have this yellow and blue Cocoon blank. Cocoon is the brand of blank. This is a pen turned by O'Brien Custom Turning, one of my favorites. I have this tray here by Printable by Design. I think I will try to leave a link to their Etsy shop if they're still open. I purchased this tray probably a year and a half ago at this point. It's okay. I do have some issues with drills sticking at this you know, farthest over line over here. I have to kind of like scoot them down and out, but it's fine. I like the color. That's kind of why I bought it. I did also experiment with this wooden tray, which I did, not we. I shared this in my Amazon haul in March. I also used this in my most recent whip and chat where I worked on this diamond painting. I like it. However, I don't like the little funnel. It's too small. It doesn't work. I did have a couple of you recommend that Steven and I try to make that hole a little bit bigger. I have another one of these, so I could do that with one and see if that works. It does also have a magnetic lid. I just started pouring them out of the side and that worked fine for me. Surprisingly, this worked really well. I was concerned that there would be some issues with like splintering of the wood. I didn't experience that, so I do like these. I think they're a good option. You get 2 in a pack on Amazon. They are linked in my Amazon storefront. For washi tape, I used this thin tape on my containers. This is from a multi-pack on Amazon by the brand MT. Luna's not happy with me. And then I used this yellow and blue floral tape for the border. And then what else? I used micro glue dots in my single placer. In my multi-placer, I used the Pina Colada dot putty from Butterfly Effect Wares. I did mention this in the kitting up for this kit. I had recommended this to somebody who lives in a very warm climate. Now, it's still heckin' cold here in New York, so I don't know if this was the best test, but I do stand by my recommendation. I do think this would be pretty good in hot weather. It's not a super, like, flimsy formula. It's quite, I don't want to say it's dry because it's not dry, but I feel like this would hold up pretty well in warm climates. So if you're in the South and you want to give that a try, please report back to us Northerners if this holds up in your climate. And then for my cover minder, there were a bunch of minders to vote on in that kitten chat. This is the one that had the most comments. I think this was number 3 on my little poll, and it is the one that I was hoping would win. So it's very cute. Cannot tell you the Etsy shop. I will try to find it and leave it in the description box for you guys. So I think that's everything for this one. I apologize. This was a little bit of a longer post review, and then I went into a little bit of a tangent. So apologies for that. I hope everybody is doing all right wherever you are. It's crazy times here in the States for everybody. Everybody, not just one side. It's crazy times for everybody. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know what you think about this diamond painting. I'll go ahead and pop up one more full-length image for you guys here. Let me know your thoughts on this one. Let me know if you've worked on anything from Diamond Artisan. And I think that will do it for today's video. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope everybody has a great start to their weekend, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.